Hi, this is Faye the Oracle coming to you again with another pick a card reading. Today we are discussing relationships again, specifically marriage, marital relationships, and those who have entered into matrimony. We're asking today how to know what you need to regrow love in your marriage. How have things been? Should you stay, fix things, or try to find a new avenue of love in your life? And then we're also going to discuss Spirit's plan for you and your love. So I have 6 piles today for you. Pile 1, we have an amethyst. Pile 2, we have a jasper. Pile 3, we have clear quartz. Pile 4, we have another piece of amethyst. They asked for additional amethyst for these 2 piles, so you may want to check out pile 1 and 4. We have a piece of petrified wood because we're trying to bring in grounding energy. And then they asked for a piece of orange aventurine. Orange aventurine is a very special stone. It's used to bring in all around healing, to bring joy into your life. Works with the second chakra, dissolving creative blocks and healing sexual trauma. It aids in independence and originality, stimulates creativity, and enhances personal power. It also enhances intellectual powers and promotes communication. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it and get started with pile 1. Just going to move these to the side and then bring forward pile 1's pile. All right, pile 1 with again the amethyst. Amethyst is here to invite healing into you on a metaphysical plane. So that's energetic healing, healing in terms of your spirituality and spiritual body. It also talks about bringing in a enhanced sense of clarity in terms of your relationship. So getting started with our tarot cards, where are you currently in your relationship, pile 1? What is the current energy? First out of the deck, we have the 4 of coins reversed, the 8 of coins, and then we have the wheel of fortune. Now all of these cards have come out reversed, so we'll focus on these first 3. The 4 of coins reversed. So upright, the 4 of coins talks about someone who has reached a place of financial stability. However, they have also developed a sense of insecurity and being concerned that now that they have found the wealth and fortune that they desire from the hard work implemented in the 3 of coins, they are so concerned with holding on to everything that they have built and have gained that they are kind of under a strain where they have locked themselves into a place where they are basically harboring their wealth and living in a space where they're overly concerned with what will happen to themselves if they allow their wealth to get away from them. Usually this is a card that encourages someone to recognize that they have reached stability, but also to recognize that it's not good to harbor things. In order to live abundantly, you must also be in an energy of giving to others with a sense of charity. Now, for this card to come out reversed, I feel that there may have been an energy of selfishness that has been going on in the relationship. Maybe someone had been closed off. Maybe an attempt to regrow also what was lost previously. When you first enter into your relationship with someone, especially if it's had been a long-term relationship prior to the actual marriage, there are energies there that really only exist once the overall honeymoon phase, so to speak, kinds of fades away. And I'm thinking now that you guys are in a place of really being kind of stagnant, a little stuck, maybe a little bit in a rut. and things haven't necessarily been growing in terms of your overall attachment to the marital status itself, I think. This may be the kind of energy where another person has been suffering with a lot of complaints. There are a lot of things that need to be made clear in terms of what each person desires and feels that they have needs that are needing to be met. This could be different from what their desires or needs were when they first entered into the relationship. I know that once you cohabitate with someone for a bit, things can kind of change as you move from this place of infatuation to the more grounded and stable love that comes from a long-term relationship. And sometimes that can kind of have you in an energy of feeling like the chemistry is kind of dwindled out a bit. And in terms of sexual satisfaction, I'm feeling that there may be some need to turn that around a little bit. Moving into the energy of the Eight of Coins, which is very interesting because in terms of the relationship itself, we already have 2 coin cards here which talk about things being stable and grounded. The 4 is a very stable number, and then 8 is a very stable number. It's also a number of manifestation. So upright, the 8 of Coins usually talks about long-term management of someone's finances, skills, talents, and then using those energies to contribute to the overall level of wealth and stability and personal development associated with the 9 and 10 of coins. For this card to be reversed, I'm thinking this is saying that someone in particular in the relationship has been bearing a lot of the brunt of the work in terms of making an effort to keep things, to keep things spicy, to keep things satisfying, to keep things flowing, to keep things in a place of enjoyment and allowing for an energy of possibility to come in. I feel like someone has been giving love very freely, and the other person may not have been returning those efforts with a level of generosity that this person feels like they need in order to feel appreciated. I feel that it's not been that person's intention to be mean, but it seems like they're running into opposition with you about this, pile 1, in terms of what you both consider to be fun may be in 2 completely different camps, so to speak. So say for example, maybe one of you enjoys hunting, and so you spend a lot of time with your buddies and friends who also enjoy hunting, and so that's nice, that you have friends, that you have a shared activity that you enjoy and use to unwind. But if this other person doesn't enjoy hunting, then that leaves them kind of also left out to try to find fun on their own. And if you end up spending a lot of time out of the home enjoying this activity, then that leaves this other person alone a lot. Now, there could be a level of codependency there, even in that, just due to the fact that when someone doesn't have as much time as they would like to spend with another person, it's still up to that person to specifically find something for themselves to do. But it does kind of generate an air of resentment when you're not doing your best to make things balanced and to spend time with this other partner, either doing something that you two can find to be a shared activity that you both enjoy, or just being willing to spend time with them doing something that they enjoy. And it's interesting that we have the Wheel of Fortune here reversed. So the Wheel of Fortune, when upright, it talks about a lot of fortuitous events occurring, luck, good fortune, things generally going to you as a personal benefit or coming to you as a personal benefit. And reversed, Of course, you may feel as if things are stagnant. There's been a lot of bad luck. There could be also with this card a suggestion of there needing to be a greater energy of empathy and compromise. It could also kind of just talking about your relationship just being in a tough spot right now. After all, we can't always be on top of the world at every period in our life. And sometimes the hard times do come up, obstacles come up. With the other coin cards here, maybe there has been a change in your financial status. I know with everything that's been happening with the quarantine and COVID, a lot of people have had a significant shift in their overall finances. And this could also mean that there's been a significant shift in the relationship, whereas you two may have had other things that you did with your time. You may find yourself at home spending more time together. And if you are not, however, spending a lot of time together, if one person is leaving the home to go do other things, then that could leave the other person to be responsible for the day-to-day runnings of things. Like, being at home with the kids, not either being homeschooled or they're Zoom schooling, taking care of a lot of the duties that you two may have shared previously, and basically just needing to find new things to do to keep themselves feeling fresh and lively. So let's see what other energy is going to come through here. Okay, so we have the 9 of coins reversed, and now this would fall under the 4 of coins reversed. So the 9 of coins is usually an energy of someone who is living independently, financially independent. They're choosing to be single until they find someone who is the right fit. Reverse, I feel that, of course, this is the energy of someone who is no longer single, but may also be now dealing with the energy of no longer having their financial independence. And so as a result, they're kind of just finding whatever it is they can really just be tinkering around the house doing. They have a laundry list now of things that they dedicate their time in terms of activities to keep themselves busy, to keep themselves from feeling too idle. This is someone who would usually spend a lot of time in pursuits of their hobbies and their careers. And then having this card be reverse definitely talks about them kind of facing their fears, I think, in a way of now that they're no longer in the position that they were used to, where are they going to find other ways to feel like they're benefiting, putting their skills and talents to good use. So this is interesting, because 4 and 9 is 13 and 1 and 3 is 4 again. So 4s are numbers of stability. So it comes off as being in an energy of boredom for me. There's been a lot of boredom that's been going on lately. And then we have the 2 of Wands reversed. So interesting, because the 2 of Wands basically talks about someone needing to make a decision in terms of what path that they're going to take in order to develop the commitment that they need. This is a card that talks about passion, drive, ambition, and spiritual energy, with 2s being specifically numbers associated with choice. With this reverse, I feel like they don't feel like they really have a lot of choices going on right now, especially with the 8 of Coins being related to work. And they're not really enjoying the lack of choices, or they're not enjoying the choices that they have. They may also feel like there's an overall level of there's an overall level of the relationship lacking in commitment. This could be also the fact that the wands are usually associated with fun. There may have not been a lot of fun lately, or maybe that there was an energy of fun, but it has dwindled now that everything is kind of being said and done. Like, you've settled into the circumstances of everything that's been happening, and now you're kind of recognizing how things may have, I don't know, they may feel like the decisions that you made in the past aren't really holding up anymore. So let's see now. This next series of oracle cards basically talk about advice from your spirit guides and to helping you decide what to do in terms of repairing things. Okay, so we have the heart chakra here. So So there may need to be a lot of expression of a lot of these pent up or frustrated feelings. I definitely consider a lot of these cards to be associated with frustration when they come up reversed. There hasn't been a lot of flow, and there has apparently been a lot of energy necessary of letting go of situations. I feel like there's some kind of temptation, desires here that aren't being met, and that one of you is maybe feeling a little scattered and has been needing a chance to vent. And then the heart chakra is another 4. So interesting. So definitely a lot of stability, but as a result, I'm thinking that things have been stale or stagnant for a bit. Yeah, so we have the sacrifice card. The sacrifice card is associated with the hangman, and the hangman talks about how sometimes in order to have a shift in perspective, we have to sacrifice a lot of the go, go, go mentality and just kind of hang around and really ask ourselves what it is that we want, need, and what we're missing. 4s, I feel like, are also numbers associated with opportunity in the tarot card deck. And when you are very stable, you can sometimes enter into an energy of feeling stagnant. And when you're feeling stagnant, you sometimes need to find different ways to circumvent these feelings in order to find new opportunities that you may not have been recognizing that were available to you. So what exactly do you need to sacrifice in order to bring back the marital bliss in your relationship? Okay, so we have the universe card. The universe card talks about cycles. That this is something that may have been a predetermined obstacle in your relationship, that it may require you to take a step back for a little bit and really maybe even seek some additional counseling in terms of how to repair things. That all relationships do have their ups and downs, where everything is great or everything may be harder or there isn't as much excitement as you were used to being in. Things really having a feeling for me of just kind of having really become a bother in your relationship with them, pile 1. Something also comes through about a father. So yeah, and now we have the Destiny card, which is the Wheel of Fortune card again. Now we don't recognize reversals in this deck, but it did come out reversed, and we are supposed to take note of that. This is something of a cycle that you two are currently going through. If this is a relationship that's important to you, then you need to find the strength, the know-how, or maybe even seeking advice from others about how you can kind of sit down and have a conversation about all of this. You know, really give each other the space and safety to vent about everything without judgment. Sometimes I think it's very difficult for us to come to our loved ones to really talk about things without it becoming something as if we're trying to, jeopardize the relationship or throw away everything just because things haven't really been feeling very good for yourselves right now. You need to find out where in your areas that you're missing out on having your marriage continue to be a mutually beneficial situation. We have fulfillment of wishes, which is the 9 of Cups. So fantastic energy to come through actually with this. So while things may be feeling a little hairy right now, ultimately this is a relationship that is worth saving. I think there is an air here of needing to recognize why you got into the relationship again. I feel like that's the kind of energy that makes people decide to renew their vows. It's something along the lines of really having a moment to check in, to ask each other if you're still happy, if you're unhappy, in what ways can we make adjustments and changes, and really just being very open about your need to be and to feel playful with them again, pile 1. If this is an area where you have not necessarily been receiving a lot of the success that you were used to, then it may be time for you to find something else to do outside of the system that you may have been working in. I know that people get comfortable when they work for a company, they make good money, but sometimes you just have to recognize that if this is a business that is really specifically reliant on them feeling like they're using or choosing to look at you as an asset, then it may be time for you to think about things that you could be doing for yourself. Maybe working from home, maybe starting a business that you've been specifically having in your mind of wanting to do that may have only been a hobby or a passion project. This really talks about you stepping into an energy of what feels good for you and allowing that energy then to spread into the rest of your relationship. And then we have the base chakra. So fantastic, because this talks about how there needs to be a grounding in your relationship. I feel that maybe your sexual relationship has kind of taken a tank recently, and that can really happen when you're feeling a little stagnant. If you want to bring things back into a good energy, it's important to recognize that you two are individuals. And so if you yourself have been maybe experiencing a lot of anxiety or worries, a lot of boredom, it's possible for you to change that energy. Take some time out, really consider what it is that you need in order to feel happy and satisfied with yourself, and then you'll be able to better negotiate what exactly it is that you're needing in your relationship with this other person, pile one. And I definitely want to encourage you to consider watching pile 3. Pile 3 kept coming up to me, so you may find additional messages there for you again. So now these next cards are to give you insight into how to invite more healing into your life and into the relationship. We have turquoise, which is associated with friendship. And it's just like, oh, of course. You guys have obviously gone past a place of just being lovers, just being tied together by a very strong sexual chemistry. It's time to reignite your friendship, moving into some playful energy with each other, enjoying a courtship again, finding ways to connect and to feel a deeper sense of connection to one another with something you never told this person, you never admitted to them, with something they don't know about you. Play some games, play some question games, and I mean really enjoy asking serious questions and lighthearted questions too. Like, when I first met you, I think that you said your favorite color was this. Well, what's your favorite color now? You think that so much time has passed. Do you have any new foods you've always wanted to try? What's something that you feel like we used to do in the past and we don't do anymore? If you really want things to work out, you have to consider giving it a try to really recognize that your old way of having a relationship is in the past. You are currently able to step into an energy of inviting in a new sense of ideas of what your relationship is now moving forward. Don't cling so much to how things used to be. Ask yourself, how can we make things better today? And what can we invite into our relationship moving forward? We have the zebra jasper, which is associated with engagement. Absolutely, pile one. You need to invite this other person in to engage with you, talk to you, flirt a little bit, maybe even sex some. When's the last time you sent them a little kinky picture of yourself? It doesn't matter if you guys are sitting next to each other on the couch. Act like, that you just met, or maybe consider getting into some role playing even, hey, I hired this person to come in and install some curtains. I don't know what you're into, pile one, but really just get into a playful energy. Find where it is that you feel like maybe there's some kinks that you two have been interested in exploring now that the relationship has matured and developed a little bit. I mean, you don't have to be into everything, but if you're willing to give it a try, I don't see the other person not being appreciative. So definitely considering how you can raise the level of engagement in your relationship. We have the Dalmatian stone, inner child. Yes. I feel like this is coming through with an energy of how you kind of used to be when you first met. Maybe you were a little bit of a wild child. I feel like whenever people talk about these stories of how they and this person started dating like early on in the relationship, you were usually very young, and so you were completely different people and in a completely different energy. And you may be older now, maybe in your late 30s or all the way to your early 50s even. But hey, if you may be old but you're not cold, Power One, you can definitely find a way to bring in some new fun. Maybe put on some outfits you have no business wearing around them and seeing how they act. Maybe they can do the same thing for you, Really get into an energy of fun and playfulness. Picasso Jasper, which is associated with nature. So it may be time for you to get outside and really just enjoy being in the outdoors together. Move away from this idea of date night having to be associated with a restaurant or some kind of, go around town. Maybe it's just you and them having a picnic. Sitting outside under some trees. It's getting a little cold, but it's not too cold yet in some areas. If it is cold, wrap up, get a blanket, get some hot cocoa in a thermos. Sit outside for a little bit. Go for a ride around. Christmas time is coming. I'm sure there are some lights up. Maybe do that. See if somebody can watch the kids for a night. Really go out there and invent some new habits even. Maybe even just going for walks together. It's a great time of season to really reconnect with one another. And now we have our Lenormand deck. This is to bring us some more insight into how you can bring this relationship together. So let's see. First card that came out for you is the Letter. Now, these all have very specific meanings, Pile One. And let's see what the letter can offer. So it's the written word, record, or text. So was talking about sending some risky text messages earlier, Pile One. So maybe that is something that you need to do. Maybe you should write each other love letters and give them. Maybe you should consider writing down all of the things that you've been frustrated with. Let the first draft be really raw, and then the second draft be written with more compassion and love, and then maybe share that with them. Because the next card that came out, which is the Rider, which is also associated with messages and communication. So it's definitely telling you to invite more communication into your relationship, Pile One. So let's see what else comes out for you. Okay, the Gentleman. So definitely telling you to communicate with this person. That could be a man, but could also just be a masculine energy in your relationship. This also comes out with the Key. And the Key is all about access to things. So opening up things as well as closing them. And I feel that it may be coming from a period of where the best advice for you is to consider to open up to this other person. To tell them what your needs are. To also acknowledge that your needs may have changed recently. And that's okay. We should be in an energy of being able to acknowledge as well as communicate when our needs change, because we're not going to be the same person, and so we're obviously not going to need the same things from people. But okay, Pile One, that was your reading. I hope that you found it helpful and that you are able to invite in more excitement into your marriage and into your relationship, that you find that energy you need to feel like kids again. And if you would like to purchase a private reading, I'm more than happy to look into your specific circumstances in more detail. You can do so by checking out the description box below. But I thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, Pile One. All right, moving on to Pile Two. And Pile 2, you have this red jasper. So this is talking about bringing in more grounding energy into your relationship. But the red jasper is also associated with the base chakra. And I do believe that the base chakra is very important in terms of us feeling very secure in ourselves and to develop a better sense of foundations in our lives. So let's see. These first tarot cards talk about what the overall energy in your relationship is. And the words "I've been sleepy" or feeling tired just came to mind, pile two. I feel like I need to move a little slower, that my energy has been drained. And man, I'm trying not to complain, but the words "I need some head" just came to mind. So first thing out of this is the King of Coins reverse. So the King of Coins reverse in terms of relationships talks about there may having been a sense of promise that you felt was a part of your relationship that is no longer maybe a possibility, and that's causing you to feel as if there's some inconsistency here, because the King of Coins upright is a very solid, stable person. They may not be the most exciting person around, but if you're looking for a stable relationship, well, look no further. The King of Coins has that. But in reverse, I feel like there's some consistencies, an overall lack of stability, maybe even a lack of emotional availability, pile two. The next we have is the Two of Coins reversed. So the Two of Coins upright talks about being in the energy of a very delicate balancing act, pile two. This is about you recognizing that while you have everything handled, if you take on even one more thing, something's going to have to drop. Twos are also associated with choices. And with this being reversed, I feel like this is an energy of there being a lot of excuses about somebody not handling things, pile two. This can also, it feels like that things are kind of been a balancing act between you two. As you can see, these two people are literally on a tightrope. And I feel like you have been feeling like you've been thinking about leaving, pile two. And I just want you to know that while a tarot reading cannot necessarily give you the exact answers you're looking for, I do hope that it can offer you some additional insight before you decide to walk out the door. So let's see. So the coins are the first two cards out of this for this particular pile. So definitely talks about maybe finances and stability, as well as maybe feeling a lack of foundation in the relationship anymore, has been causing a lot of vulnerability. Okay, we have the Seven of Swords reversed. So the Seven of Swords is a card that's associated with betrayal, lies, cheating. And with it coming up reversed, it usually talks about things that were hidden coming to light. I also feel in the energy of this card being associated with you having been thinking about divorce. Swords are associated with our mind, our thoughts, and our expressions of ourselves and our feelings. And I feel like you have been really thinking about leaving, because the Seven of Swords usually depicts a person running off into the night with the Seven Swords they stole from an enemy camp. So if this is something where you have been considering leaving them for someone else, or maybe there has been some lies that have been told that you've started to get information on about that, I feel like there's so much pain going on, pile two, and I'm so sorry. There's been some deception, and you are trying to get the truth. I can definitely feel that. This is going to take a lot of reflection, pile two, and I'm so sorry that you've been having to go through this in your relationship. The Tower card reverse. So the Tower card talks about sudden insight, knowledge, or basically the crumbling of a foundation that was built on faulty logic or deceit or just some kind of negative, energy or misgivings. In reverse, the tower still stands, but there's some illusion here. Some kind of level of discontentment, also not necessarily knowing how to fix things. And I feel like you do really want to fix it, pile two. You really, really do want to fix it. But it feels like you think that you're hitting a dead end and trying to figure out what to do. And you're really wanting to gain some more insight. And I really hope that hasn't been the situation where your partner has not been committed to you, especially if you are in a monogamous relationship. Six of Wands reversed. While pile two, while you want there to be a victory between you two, the Six of Wands reversed talks about you not feeling as if there is going to be a win for the situation. The Six of Wands upright talks about victory, celebration, recognition for your hard work. And reverse, I feel like there's been a level of you not feeling appreciated, feeling underappreciated even. And I think that this may also have a big part in you feeling like you may be better off just leaving. And I just want you to understand that it is difficult to even undertake this kind of thing without having a plan, especially if you two share a lot of finances. But I would reach out to a trusted friend or somebody that you know can be unbiased, like a therapist or a marriage counselor, to assist you with coming to a truce, even if possible. Okay, and now we have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords I've heard talked about as the sword of truth. It is definitely talking about coming to a honest conclusion of sorts by having a very honest talk. There are some things that I think have been going unacknowledged in the relationship, and that it has been affecting you in terms of making you feel a little undervalued. And I'm very sorry, but I'm hoping that communicating some things will ultimately allow you to share your feelings and invite in some healing. And I'm sorry, pile two, give me just one moment. I need to get a drink of water. I'm sorry about that, but I was feeling so choked up that I couldn't. I had to get something to drink. Okay, let us continue. I feel like you've been feeling like a bother, pile two. And this may not, for some of you, the story may be that this is not even specifically someone that you're married to. This might be like your baby father, but you guys have been together for like 10 years or longer, and it's starting to stress on you that either they haven't proposed, or if they have proposed, they haven't followed through, pile two. And whew, man, the word asshole came to mind. So it's just like, it could be that you've been feeling very choked up in terms of your throat chakra, which is where the energy we need for communication comes through. And I feel like you need to approach communication a little bit differently, where you are allowing yourself to space to really talk about what they have been putting you through, especially lately. Because we have solitude. Solitude talks about you needing to take some time alone to really contemplate what it is that you need, how to best accomplish those needs, and if you are feeling as if you were in the energy of needing to leave, what would you do from there? How would you go? Is it possible? Do you have people who can support you? What kind of resources are accessible to you? Basically, just trying to figure out what you need to do for yourself. We have recognition and reward, which is so interesting because this card talks about the same energy as the Six of Wands. And I think that it's important that even if this other person isn't showing you what you need to feel appreciated, that you recognize that you can always appreciate the things you do yourself, pile two. I feel like there is a lot of truth here that you can also find by listening to pile one. And I feel like there is something here of substance that if you have been wanting to get married, that you give it a chance to really find some kind of common ground with this person, and that you guys really have not just one long conversation, but many, many conversations about the connection, where you feel it is lacking, and how you can bring it to a mutually beneficial situation, because just expecting a proposal is not the way to go, because a proposal is not, and getting married is not going to fix communication issues. It's not going to fix them showing you how they need to appreciate you, and honestly, just proposing to you isn't enough. They need to show you that they appreciate you in all aspects of your relationship together. We have emotional withdrawal. So I feel like you may have been pulling away from this person, and they may have been pulling away as well. And that's why it's so important for you to just talk about it. There's no point in just allowing you to enter into this energy of being in a stalemate where it's like, oh, well, if you want to be funky and not talk to me, I'm not going to talk to you either. You're not going to get anywhere with that energy. You have to recognize that when you have a relationship, especially when the two of you have a family, it is important for you to set a positive example for your kids about how to handle a relationship. So if you have been feeling so badly that you really want to cut ties and quit, then that's something that you need to come to a real understanding with and try to find some kind of truths about it. Because if this person has been treating you in a way where you are feeling emotionally shut out, then coming to them about that and trying to fix it will allow you to either get the results you desire, or it will give you the information you need to make a decision as to whether or not you want to leave pile two. And then we have accelerated motion, which is interesting considering what's going on here about the lack of consistency and stability. But I feel like whatever is happening, there is going to be a shift. The universe does act on our behalf when we have a lot of things going on, and we are not really allowed to just kind of exist in relationships or to be stuck in periods of doubt anymore. If there isn't any desire on either half to fix it, then you may find that there's a situation that comes that causes everything to come to a final conclusion. But I think that this is something that's actually going to be to your benefit, as the 8 is associated with manifestation, and it is a number associated with positive flow in and out, giving and receiving. And I think that there is a conversation that is worth having, especially if you have been feeling more sure that you are moving in the energy of wanting to leave. So let's see what other additional guidance we can find in terms of inviting healing into your relationship or into your life. So first card we have here is Tiger's Eye, stability. So I definitely feel more energy here about there being a lack of stability in the relationship. And I think that you can find some benefit from me reading to you a little bit about Tiger's Eye. So give me one moment. Tiger's Eye, stability. Attend to practical needs. A setback is not a sign of failure. Prepare a contingency plan. Step up and do what must be done. Stand firm, be fierce, and have confidence. And it says that tiger's eye is useful for stabilizing and grounding. It enhances willpower, confidence, and practicality. It is said to help the wearer see with the eyes of a tiger, bringing them stealth, strength, and courage to be a protector. And that it is good to carry tiger's eye with you during business negotiations, as it sharpens the mind and helps one to think outside the box. And it says this card will help you to manage situations with reason rather than emotion. And that's very important, because oftentimes when we're suffering some kind of difficulty in our relationships, it's very easy for us to get emotional and to respond emotionally. But the truth is that a relationship is something that you should be considering to be based on negotiation. You both should be talking about what you need, what you want, where you have boundaries, where you don't feel as if there has been a lot of communication around you both needing this particular thing. If you haven't talked or checked in with this person in some time about your relationship, it's time for you to consider that as the actual conclusion, as opposed to just thinking that the only way to deal with it is to leave. Do some research. Consider finding a counselor. Relationship therapy can be conducted online, and it honestly may be time for you guys to really sit down and come to some kind of resolution about your relationship and where you two need to find a better way of benefiting each other. Because I'm somebody who is non-monogamous, and one of the things that I found that made me realize I was non-monogamous was that it wasn't enough for somebody to desire me or for me to want to be with them to make me decide to just be around them. I needed to really ask myself, if I'm struggling with something in terms of talking about something or in terms of trying to negotiate what I feel like I need, well, what is that feeling coming from? Do I feel like this person doesn't think about me enough? If they don't think about me enough, well, how do I need them to act to show me they think about me? If they're not making me feel beautiful, well, do I feel like I'm beautiful? And do I need them to make me feel like I'm beautiful? There's lots of root sources for a lot of the feelings we have. And sometimes vulnerability comes in order for us to recognize that there is a need here that isn't being expressed. And sometimes recognizing that need and how you yourself are needing to address it can help you understand that this other person has no idea that you need those things because you haven't been talking about it. Well, our partners aren't mind readers, and it's important we give them all the tools possible to make the best decisions possible, because sometimes you're putting them in a position where they don't know what you need, and your own feelings are becoming an obstacle to honest and productive communication. Then we have Emerald, successful love. So things aren't as bleak as they seem, pile two. There's definitely more here between you two than you may have recognized. And I'm going to read about Emerald here for you as well. Emerald, which is associated with successful love. Enduring friendships or partnerships, a call to greater love. A kindness or compassionate gesture brings healing, overcoming or forgiving a hurt, a slow growing but lasting romantic connection, success in the matter of the heart. And it says that this stone brings romance as well as domestic bliss. It can help heal a broken heart and bring us to love once again. Relationships of all kinds and on all levels can benefit from this gem, and that this card is particularly fortuitous to those seeking love on both the spiritual and physical planes. And it says that the emerald is a serenity stone. The resulting love will be unconditional and enduring. When used as a healing stone, it can relieve heartache and its side effects by fostering hope, forgiveness, and compassion. So absolutely, there is still hope for you two. You just have to be pushing forward in an energy of wanting to actually resolve the hurt. wanting to actually discuss your needs, wanting to communicate how you want to give to them as well. It's not enough to talk about what this other person isn't giving to us. It's also about offering them the space they need to talk about what they have not been receiving and what they want as well. That way we can move our relationship into a mutually beneficial situation. Because if you love this person, then you should want to treat them well as well. Nice. We have Snowflake Obsidian, and this is associated with transparency. Transparency. Yes, pile 2. Transparency. You may not have realized it, but you might not have been making it very easy to give you what you need. It's like I said before, our partners are not mind readers. They do not know what we want, as you are the person who is an expert on all of your thoughts and feelings. If you've been feeling hurt or left out, it may be important to say that and not just assume this other person is being an asshole. They may genuinely not know. And if you have any understanding of their past, ask yourself, has this person seemed like they've had a past with successful relationships with other people, and is talking about their feelings and needs something that they've ever been encouraged to do? You may find that considering these things is going to be a benefit to both of you. And it says, Snowflake Obsidian, a secret is revealed and loses its power. Shame is an illusion. Life is black, white, and everything in between. Making friends with your shadow is a step towards wholeness. And it says, drawing this card might be a prompt to acknowledge things you would rather ignore. Be brave. Take a deep breath and bring them into the light. You will feel relieved and stronger than ever. And it says that Snowflake Obsidian is all about bringing emotions out into the light. These emotions can be negative or positive, secret or hidden. Even though this can seem uncomfortable or even painful, we will feel purged and all the better for it. In some cases, this powerful gem can bring up trauma from past lives that are so intense they have affected our present existence. And they say trauma from past lives because relationships come into our lives to teach us lessons about ourselves and for us to teach lessons to this other person about themselves. But past lives can also really just talk about traumas from your past and your childhood. Did people encourage you to talk about your feelings? When you did talk about your feelings, were they respected? Were they acknowledged? Were you having your needs met easily, or did you have to fight for everything you wanted or needed while you were growing up? All of these things can affect your relationship as an adult and make it very traumatic, hard, and difficult to talk about what you want and to express yourself openly and honestly. And then we have Sea Opal talking about yin and yang. Yin and yang is a concept we often see in Eastern philosophies, which basically talk about us recognizing that we have equal and opposite forces that exist within our bodies and our mentalities. It says that claiming rather than denying your past, satisfaction through personal development, accepting a situation in its entirety, not just the good or easy parts. Understanding replaces judgment, striving towards authentic, balanced living. It says that when we admire this attractive stone, we project positive vibrations toward it that are easily absorbed. And this is the case even with negative feelings. When we project negative feelings onto other people, we allow ourselves to dictate the seed of discord or disharmony in our relationships. Oftentimes, the feelings of abandonment, shame, or being shut out has a root in something else that you experienced prior to the start of the relationship. And when you allow yourself to then say, I feel this way because you are treating me like this, as opposed to this person is doing this behavior, which I associate with someone else having done to me that made me feel this way. It can be very difficult for us to navigate our emotions and then what other people are showing us through their actions to be the same thing. And that is not the truth. The truth is that oftentimes we have uncovered hidden emotions that we don't understand and that we got so early on that we internalize them as a survival technique. So for example, for me, I have a lot of trauma around calling people on the phone. I have a lot of trauma around calling people on the phone because when I was a kid, I had a reoccurring issue with a very specific relative where they told me that they would be coming to pick me up to take me to do whatever activity, and they didn't come at the time they said they would, and when I called them on the phone, they would not pick up. They continued this habit of saying they were going to do something and flaking out and not telling me so that I can not expect them to come. And into like me becoming like a teenager entering in my 20s, they were supposed to come pick me up to take me to work, and they just wouldn't show up, wouldn't respond to my text messages or phone calls, wouldn't say they weren't coming. I would just have to scramble and find something else to do. And it's like one of those things where when it happens to you as a kid, you don't want to believe they're not coming, so you might be looking out of the window with all your clothes and shoes on, like waiting to go on this adventure together, and they never come. And the thing about people not showing up is that I know they have shame around it, because it'd be simple enough to say, hey, something came up, I'm not going to be able to make it. But instead of being accountable, they choose to act like it just didn't happen. And if this is something that you've been experiencing, it may be necessary for you to communicate that with this person so that they recognize that by you not being able to show up and then not saying you can't, you put me in a place where I either have to choose between being mad at you or forgiving you, but you're not actually giving me an option. You are making me make the choice, and I'm choosing instead to believe that you are hurting me intentionally. And all of these things end up playing out over and over again until you are able to step forward and talk about what you're feeling honestly. And it says that the most powerful quality of sea opal is its ability to uncover hidden emotions. And it possesses yin-yang balance, meaning it contains opposite energies such as day and night, female and male. So you may find that you are absorbing positive and negative feelings, and then you are projecting those feelings on this other person. So you could be doing what they say is mirroring each other. So this person has difficulties with admitting when they feel overwhelmed, for example, and so they can't really show up and hold accountability and telling you that they feel overwhelmed, and that's why they're not doing things. And as a result, they're leaving you hanging and not really expressing themselves. And then you feel neglected, but you're not expressing yourselves to them. So you're both just kind of sitting maybe in the same room, not talking to each other, and so you can never resolve your issues. So let's see what advice they have in terms of the last messages for your reading pile 1. So we have the Child, which talks about innocence, children, but then we also have the Clover, which talks about luck and fortune. That's interesting. Excuse me. Innocence and luck, children and fortune. I think this is advising you to open up for the benefit of your children and for displaying a greater sense of stability in your household. I think that there's an energy here of communication, and looking at this Child card, They also have messages that are associated with cartomancy. So this here is the King of Spades, which is also the King of Swords. The person you're with may also have a beard for some of you. But the King of Swords is someone who is a master of communication. They make very reasoned, calm, and deliberate decisions, and they take their time listening to the other person before coming to a decision or answering whatever it is they have said to them. And I think that they're advising you to use your head over your heart and to try to come into the conversation with this energy of being open to receive whatever this person wants to say, and to give them a honest and reasoned answer, free of emotional attachment, free of emotional projection. Because this card, once again, up here is the Six of Diamonds, which is associated with the Six of Wands. So I think that there has to be appreciation given on both ends. Ask yourself, what does this person do right? And then communicate that to them. So saying, I asked you to be somewhere to do something at a time. You didn't tell me that you were going to be late, but you did show up and you did do the thing, and I appreciate that. However, moving forward, I would really also appreciate it if you can give me an update when you're going to be late for things. Just taking that time, that kind of action with somebody and talking to them can really invite love into the conversation, because it's really hard for our masculines, because oftentimes they're really only receiving feedback when they fuck up. And when that happens, it makes it very hard for them to open up, because they just think that you're going to just start railing in on them. You don't do this, you don't do that, you know, you're always fucking lying. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's really hard for them to be able to be vulnerable with people, because the only times they're getting peace is when they're doing things right, and then they never really hear thank yous or anything like that for trying in spite of their own difficulties. But that was the end of your reading, pile 2, and I hope it was helpful. And if you are interested in purchasing a personal reading, feel free to check out the links in the description box below. But I thank you for coming through, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. And now we have pile 3. Hey, pile 3. You have the clear quartz, which is all about harnessing the energies from other stones and also charging them. So it seems like you have been a need to recharge either yourself or your relationship. So let's see what's going on exactly. What is the energy in your relationship? Because what I'm feeling is that if you need to recharge, there has been some energy of stagnancy. Okay, so first card out is the Seven of Discs. Upright, it talks about patience, diligence, waiting for the seeds you've planted to grow. Reversed, I ain't trying to be patient no more. I'm tired. I've been waiting long enough. I don't feel like what I'm looking to have grow was ever going to take root, ever going to flower. And I don't even really know if I want to be in this garden anymore. So I definitely hear a need for you to recognize your inner power and how you can take charge of any situation by finding the appropriate technique, pile number 3. So let's see what else comes through. We have the Ace of Cups. There is hopefully a emotional renewal coming through for you, something that will bring you hope, positive new starts to your relationships, and some kind of financial benefit also came to mind. Even though this isn't necessarily a card about money, the aces talk about new beginnings, so it can also talk about new opportunities. Let's see. We have the Three of Wands reversed. So again, this energy of stagnation, because upright, the Three of Wands is a card about recollection, but it's also a card of foresight for me, because this person is waiting for what they sent out to sea to come back to them in the form of a new financial potential or some kind of form of stability that usually becomes the Four of Wands. It also has the Three of Wands talk about being a card of communication, especially electronically. And when it comes up reversed, there either could have been some kind of miscommunication, or maybe somebody is receiving your messages and not reading them. I don't know, but it seems like if you have been saying things, you've been having to repeat them a lot, pile 3, and that you're kind of tired of talking about the same thing. That's the energy I'm getting. And then this last card is the Eight of Wands reversed. So delays, frustrations, feeling like you're not getting anywhere, feeling like things haven't been moving, feeling like you're not being able to move things forward, and really just feeling frustrated and unsure of how to do things differently. So man, I feel like there is a whole story going on here. Stagnant energy, feeling like you're not getting a return on your investments, needing a fresh start, maybe even needing to feel like you aren't being heard with what it is that you want to communicate or talk about, feeling drained, a lack of stability also, because the Eight of Wands is the only card really associated with stability, with it being an 8, but with it being reversed, there's the energy here of it feeling too late. You know, they took too much time to get back to you, for example. They had taken their time way too much. They're frustrating you because it seems like they're not trying to get anywhere with you. You want to try. I can see that with the Ace of Cups. You want to try, but things just have not been going your way. So let's see what the spirit guides have to say that you can do about this relationship. Memories of love. So it seems like things may have been different with the relationship in the past. I feel like a lot of the conversations you've been wanting to have been about the past. Maybe that there were things that were promised that they never came through on. Maybe there were things that you thought they would change and they didn't change. Maybe there are things that have been happening that have made you feel more estranged, but things were better in the past, and you're just really not sure how to get to a place of feeling things are going to last. Because a 6 is usually a number associated with give and take, but it's also, the number 6 is associated with family. And a stable family life. And I feel like with this being a 7 in reverse, that you guys haven't been progressing, and maybe even the best years of your life are now feeling behind you, so to speak. If this has been a long-term relationship. If this has been a shorter-term relationship, maybe this is somebody that you have a past history with, that you have still been wanting to get back together with, but you're just not sure if the relationship is a right fit anymore, because it's feeling more and more like you really just want to walk out the door and just let it be what it is. Heartache and loss. Okay. And this in this deck is basically the 3 of Swords. So grief, loss, regret, being heartbroken, being upset, feeling sad, feeling lonely, feeling listless. This is a kind of thing where I really believe that you didn't think that on your wedding day that things would end up like this for some of you. And I feel like there's somebody here who has something they want to say. Give me a moment. Don't let the past hold you back. Some things are meant to be built to last, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to fight for it. If it doesn't feel like the right fit, then you may need to figure out how you can coexist until things have had a chance to stabilize. It seems like it's time for you to realize that I think they say that matrimony sometimes isn't all that it seems out to be, but that you can put in the time and effort to change things so you feel differently. And that's just a reality. Marriage is not a relationship. It is a procedure, a ritual, a act of connection. So if you enter into marriage with lack being an issue in your relationship, then that lack is going to continue. It is not going to change because you got married. That's just the reality of anything. You literally bring into it where everything was at the time. It's why it's like, you can have all this build up and pressure till the day of the wedding, and then the next day you're married already. And so if you were already arguing, then maybe there will be a period of bliss because you're all excited about what just happened, and you're excited for this new, like, a chapter of life. And then once it gets old, everything just kind of falls back to where it was before. And it's important that you recognize that if you are wanting to have things be different, then you have to take the time and effort to make them different. And then we have victory and success. So this is definitely giving me the energy that this other person does have a energy of love and appreciation for you. It just could be that you both expected or had expectations around marriage that were different. And communicating those differences is the best way to get over them. Because the Six of Wands, like many of the Wands cards, can be talking about messages, communications, energy, and movement. And if you are feeling that you want to make this successful, then you have to make moves to make it successful. Rejoice in celebration. Yes, exactly. Rejoice in celebration is also the Three of Cups, and the Three of Cups is also an energy of reunion and friendship. It's time to come together. It's time to sit into the emotional space that you need and to really, convey all of the things that you have been feeling. How can we do things differently? How can we invite in more love? What can we do to remove an air of, I feel like, of competition from the relationship? Try to get on the same page. Try to realize that you guys are actually a team. You made this choice because you had a dream of being with each other. And now that you've made this commitment, it's time to really do the work. Really snuggle up together and ask yourselves, what do you need to be happy? What do you feel like you need to make this a good fit? And so now we have some cards talking about how to invite healing into the relationship. So we have Atlanticite, emotional purity. So let me get in my little booklet and see what we can find out for you, pile 3. Vivid lime green serpentine relates to nature spirits and overcoming fear. It says that this stone is asking you to reacquaint yourself with the true meaning of love and contemplate the beauty of nature. Find yourself in woodlands, birdsong, or the sea. Spend some time thinking of the things you love about your life and bask in the soothing, welcome energy. Feed yourself kindness and compassion and absorb love. And it says that self-love is a challenge. Acknowledge and heal emotional wounds. Release your fear of giving and or receiving love. Time alone in nature brings peace and restoration. Dare to accept how you truly feel. Beautiful, beautiful energy of what to do in order to bring more healing into the situation. And it may need to start with you finding some self-love. And then we have sapphire, which is associated with insight. So let's see, sapphire. Sudden understanding, doubt or illusion is broken to reveal a truth. Focus on study or an intellectual task, seeing the part you are unconsciously playing and consciously changing roles. Yes, insight, sitting down and really coming from a place of accountability. If you're wanting to love and to receive love, then you have to figure out in what ways you can show up for this person to make loving you feel a little bit easier. We all have doubts, we all have things that we have to reckon with that we may have been carrying around before we even got into the relationship. Now's the time to recognize that once you have the stability with this person, you may need to ask them for help in helping to release control. It says that this stone is to bring the wearer insight, wisdom, and learning, and that this will help you concentrate and study. Study yourself. Figure out your love languages. Ask for help from other people. What do you think that I have been missing that I actually need in my relationships? Really ask yourself. Maybe even seek out a counselor to help you understand better how to communicate your needs in the relationship. It says that when placed on the throat chakra, it amplifies healing through the voice. So yeah, the throat chakra is a seat of communication. It is where we find the energy to express ourselves. If you've been having a hard time with that, you may need to look into different ways to open up and find another outlet for communication that helps you get your thoughts together. And then we have Rose Zircon, the card of integrity. And it says, stay true to your values. When all else fades away, it is your heart you must answer to. Clear your conscience. Early to bed and your inner peace will rise. It says that Rose Zircon is cooling, calming, and very helpful to those who suffer from insomnia. And it says that when placed on the 3 lower chakras, it helps balance the emotions and increase self-respect and integrity. So there may be a need for greater integrity in this relationship. I feel like integrity is something that people often don't recognize as a necessity. So it involves you being able to speak up and communicate honestly and lovingly how you feel, your needs and desires, but also to be able to hold yourself accountable when you know that you may have not been making it very easy for this other person to communicate with you, or to sit through how you are choosing to communicate. If this person has been needing to show more integrity with you, then there's also something that you need to find the strength and courage to communicate. Okay, pile 3, and this is your closing messages, and it's this is beautiful. We have the ring, which is associated with proposals, and then also we have the fox, which talks about strategy, cunning. So I think that it really is encouraging you to figure out what it is that you need to come up with a strategy to express to this other person how you feel. If there is a deeper level of commitment necessary for this relationship that you felt like has been missing, find the best ways possible for you to convey this to this person so that they can understand. Know that you have all the knowledge and expertise and wisdom you need, and if you are feeling doubtful, talk to someone you can trust to give you an unbiased advice, or to just give you a listening ear while you work out all of these feelings and how to best express to this person what your needs are. But I thank you so much for joining us today, Pile 3. I really hope you find the healing you need to really push through this stagnant energy and find a sense of recharging in yourself and in your relationships. But I thank you so much for coming through with us, and I'm going to go ahead and move forward to pile 4. And if you are interested in a personal reading, do feel free to check out everything that I have posted in the description box below. But I thank you so much, pile 3.